Hello, and welcome back to the Crossing the Streams podcast. I am Brigadier and joined by my two beautiful, gorgeous, stunning co-hosts, Forceful Gaming and Zakin. What's up, guys?
What's up, buddy?
Going on, dudes?
It's good to see y'all again. It's good to get back in the saddle here and record another podcast.
Heck
Always
yeah.
great. I look forward to the days.
Oh, absolutely. Me too. I've always had a penchant for a podcast. I don't know about you guys, but like something about like just sitting back and letting a podcast just wash over you, whether you like actively listening to it or just kind of having it on in the background or not. Like I've always been a podcast guy. What about y'all?
I wouldn't say podcast because unless it's something that I'm like actually like hyped about, sign me up. But I have been diving into audiobooks. So if that counts
Oh
as
yeah.
a weird version of podcast, then yeah.
I definitely put it in the same category for sure.
Oh yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
cool.
I've listened to a ton of different podcasts. A lot of them were when I was first starting out streaming because they were all different, like, tips and tricks to do. Make sure like you do these. Make sure you don't do these things. Those are different types of stuff like that. But
Hey, just
I also actually really get into audiobooks for sure.
out of curiosity, just for if anyone's listening to this and wants some supplemental material. Not that you're gonna find a better streamer podcast than Crossing the Streams, but Z, what were some of your faves?
There was I'd have to look at them again on Spot. They were all on Spotify.
Oh yeah,
But there was one, actually one of my buddies, one of my friends, they do a it's called the Sweats.
the Sweats.
It's the Sweats, yeah, they call it the Sweats podcast. It's actually really interesting. So it's like a bunch of these guys. It's my friend Cade and her, and so two of her friends, they do this show where they talk about that type of stuff. They talk about their streams, different stuff that worked for them, different stuff that hasn't worked for them, and stuff like that. It's really cool.
Nice. Hey, if you hit me with the link after we're done recording, I'll put the link in the description of this video.
For sure.
And you say the sweats, and I thought it was just them podcasting after they eat like hot ass peppers.
They're just like, "What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Sweats."
They're talking through it.
Still talking about their streaming stuff, but they're sweating ass because they eat some Carolina Reapers over there.
Oh, dude.
Ooh.
My roommate in college ate one raw, like just a whole one on a dare.
Oh my god. No thanks.
Not a good experience.
No, thank you.
He ordered it online and it came like sealed in like a bag with a box and like
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
It's like literally having hazmat suit material just to keep it safe.
Yeah, it's wouldn't recommend.
The tongs, like.
Maybe he was on the Sweats podcast.
There you go.
He was
just the other one.
All right, so let's jump into what we wanted to talk about a little more this week. Forrest, you wanted to talk about a game that you've been playing, so hit us with that.
Oh. First off, don't get me started on this game, but you're getting me started on it, and so I have to now. Okay, so back in the day, which was what, 2 years ago now, maybe even 3.
Right, the back in the day.
It seems like it because of all the crazy nonsense that's gone on in the world.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah.
It was about 2 years ago. A supposedly beautiful game was coming out called Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh yeah,
And the
everyone
hype
was
so
jazzed
real.
for it.
Everyone was done by CD Projekt Red, the Witcher series and all that stuff. So like they have the backing of such a huge following, and so they're pumping out this game. This game is based off a tabletop like role playing game that you can sit there for like 6 months and never finish it because it's so in depth. Like it's crazy. But they turned it into a game, open world decisions basically decide the game for you, which is super cool. And I had pre-ordered it pretty much at first release of when pre-orders went live. I was like, sign me up, pre-order done. This game's gonna be spectacular, beautiful, all that stuff. What a letdown that was.
Oh, dude.
It was so bad. Did you guys at all play it?
So I will tell you, And I'll tell you a story, and then I'll tell you it's a short story. Don't worry, and then I'll tell
That's
you like the exception to it later on. But I do not do pre-orders because I was burned by No Man's Sky many moons ago.
sure.
So I am not a person who partakes in the pre-ordering of games. So no, I didn't pre-order it. I waited for the reviews and I saw that it wasn't it wasn't worth
It
it.
was, it was dog shit.
That's what I heard too. I said the same thing. I was like, I
So
don't really know.
to counter my own point, I was playing it on PlayStation 4.
Mm.
Not Pro, not PC, not anything
Oh,
like that.
dude.
Because at the time of pre-order, I didn't have the PC I have today, and I didn't have the PlayStation 5 because I just got it like 2 months ago. So, it was I just got it for what I had and just hope for the best. And it was full blown because the bugs, man, like you couldn't travel 5 feet in this game via any vehicle without all of a sudden like you're driving and then now you're on top of the car and then you're outside the car and then you're back in the car and then you have a car that's inside your car and now your car is glitched and now you're inside the game itself. Like it was every 15 minutes. I don't think I played the intro, which is about 2 hours maybe, depending on how like much effort you put into it. You could probably blast through it in like 45 minutes. But the intro itself, depending on how you do it, is a good chunk of change, and then it opens you up to actually be able to play like the open worldness of the game. I played through the intro. The intro wasn't bad because that was what we mostly saw in the previews and the cinematics and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I think that that's where their main focus was to hook you in via the intro, and it was great. But the rest of the game wasn't, and so I didn't touch it after that. Um, they had a few updates here and there, and I was like, I'm still not touching it. I'm still not touching it. I'm not touching it. Don't touch it. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to get my hopes, down that, they've fixed it. No. So, got the PlayStation 5, played it on there, but the PS4 version of it was fine. Like much less bugs. You could actually go to and fro. You weren't glitching in and out. You didn't all of a sudden lose your clothes halfway through a mission for no reason just
How
because there was a
exciting.
bug about it. Right. And they allow
You can play
nudity.
your
There's
game.
nudity in that game. So you just see a flopper just running around and you're like, this is not. I had pants on a second ago. What
No,
happened?
YouTube, this content is not made for children.
Really weird children, maybe, but
Parents, please watch with your children. We recommend parental guidance.
Oh no.
um So the thing that got me the most is that once it was on the 5, because it was a game that was built for the M.2, the speeds of what an M.2 storage capacity can bring via that connectivity base, besides just like the standard hard drive that everything has. It needed that faster connection to be able to
Mhm.
upload and render everything that it really had to offer from start to finish. And what made me mad was I got the 5 and started playing. I was like, oh, it's going to be great. Yeah, it looks better and feels better. I could not drive across the map in any sort of vehicle without everything bugging out. I would be driving, everything would be going great, and all of a sudden, boop, inside the map. Just I fell in because it didn't render. Bless you. Um, didn't render, and I'm just in there. I'm like, well, shit, time to reload a save. Previous save, call it a day, and just whatever. But a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, the next gen update finally came out.
Damn, son,
Did it
where'd you
really?
find this?
Let's go.
And it's so much better.
Oh, good.
Just you can drive everywhere. I've literally like the game is so pretty now. Like imagine GTA, but in this really cool future dystopian world where you're just cruising along without having sweats just come at you from everywhere, blowing you up for no reason, and
And
getting a chance to see the environment, see the night city for what it really is. And I've just done that.
and
Like
Like
screw
a
fast
journey.
travel.
and in next gen kind of graphics. Because GTA is
100%.
great, but let's be honest, it was made like when we were
7 years
young
ago?
lads.
Xbox 360,
7
son.
years ago, bro?
Let's go.
Something
And it
like
was good
that.
times. And when that game came out, it was spectacular. It was very, for that time, it was pretty. You know, it looked really
Mhm.
good. And then you look at new games now, like Elden Ring, or you look at Jedi Fallen Order, or any of these just most recent games that have come out. They really look spectacular.
Or the new Matrix game. Have you
Just
seen the
imagine.
graphics?
Oh my God, the Unreal on that
Oh
is
yeah.
unreal. I
The
think they did that
the
on purpose.
I haven't seen
Really.
I haven't played the new Matrix, but I've
Hmm.
seen the demo of it and it's actually
Yeah.
like frightening. Like I would rather live in that world.
You
It
can,
looks
if you
better.
have, I think I know on the 5 you can, because I downloaded it too, and it's the same demo that they showed for the trailer of everything with the end of the Matrix new movie when that came out, and it looks great. You can actually toggle the different like aspects that they use in Unreal Engine. So if you want to toggle um, traffic or toggle people and all that stuff, you get to do that. And what's nice about what they did with that is that everything kind of reacts real. You know, the car crashes react real, the citizens react real, you know, how you would as well. And that's what got me hyped about the update for Cyberpunk, is that before you could walk around, pull out a gun, and you still got Joe Schmo just walking past you, going to get his tacos at the local taco stand. Like, it doesn't even matter. And you used to see like copies of the same person just all walking right next to each other. Like, there wasn't much thought initially that went into it. But with this update, you pull out a gun, there's going to be a select NPCs that will run away, and then you'll have select NPCs that will fight you. It's completely different now. And then you won't ever, I have not seen a single copy of a person since this update either.
Wow.
Every street that I'm on has got different people on it, which is fantastic.
That's
Um,
impressive.
and
It's
it
the
even
little
looks
things.
cleaner.
It's the little things like that though that make that experience just so much different, so much
So
better.
much different.
Yeah, for
And
sure. It's
have,
more it's about the immersion, really.
hmm well, and that's the thing. Not to say I've stopped, but like I've been so distracted with making content and stuff for my channel just because of this game. I've been locked into it since this update, playing for like 5 hours at a time. And I'm on the last mission of the main story before it says, like, hey, you know, if you go through here, you're going to have to finish it before you can go out and do all the extra side stuff. So I stopped, and I've been doing every bit of the side missions just because I want to experience more before I fully finish it and want to go back in, because that's what's nice about this game in general. It has replay value because you have the three classes you can choose from: Nomad, Corpo, and Street Kid, that really do change the game. I started initially on Street Kid on when I first got it, and it was cool, and you have different, you know, conversations you can have and all that stuff. But this playthrough, I changed to Corpo. Completely different intro, completely different conversations, everything's different. So my next playthrough is going to be Nomad, just to see how it goes, you know. And I know the missions and all that stuff are going to be the same, you know, who cares, because the character itself, who I am embodying, is now different. So it makes me feel different about the whole thing.
So let me ask you a question then. As someone who's been on the cyberpunk train since the beginning, would you prefer if they had waited until now to release the full game? Until they knew it was ready and gonna be great for everyone to play?
I think in general they should have just waited for next gen, without a doubt. um sure, PC people, you know, could have enjoyed it, and then same with like PS4 Pro. Like, I know people actually got to play it fully. There were still bugs like every game nowadays. Like, I even remember, I think if I remember right, when Witcher came out, especially like the most recent sets of them,
Yeah.
there were a lot of bugs right off the bat. You know, it took them time to really hone in, but I don't think it was this bad, at least on previous gen stuff. So I think the focus, and I mean, I think even CD Projekt Red said this, that they didn't consider the the what's the word I'm looking for? Just the tasking, the effort it is going to put on a previous gen console compared to new gen,
Mhm.
and I think that's where it fell completely off. Um, so this update, yeah, it's great, and yeah, if they waited maybe another year, it could have been great right off the bat, you know, like all AAA games, because all AAA games right now, for whatever reason, are being released half-assed and not fully completed. And I don't understand that, because what's the point of being a AAA game
They're trying to beat
if it
everybody
comes
else
out
to the punch.
broke. I,
Yeah, that's what
what are
I'm
they
getting
doing?
at. That's what I'm getting at with that question. Is
Oh yeah.
like you hear a lot about that these days, especially with like um games releasing in a buggy state or
Mhm.
releasing and then you have to patch the crap out of it before it's playable or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's like, and I know there's pressure from the developers and that if the or from the publishers, and if the developers had their way, they probably would make something they're proud of and then release it, you know? But it's like it makes you wonder why the culture is the way it is
Mm.
with games, because gamers, the consumers, the people that are buying it, they obviously feel one way, you know?
Yeah.
Makes
I
you
think,
wonder.
yeah, in that sense, we all have a pretty unified voice. We'd rather have a great finished game, like I'm talking overflowing with content, than the newest thing right here, right now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I
Right.
that's the thing that bugs me all the time is you might even have a game that's running great, doesn't ever have no bugs, no nothing, no issues, but you're done with that whole game in 2 hours.
And you paid 60, now $70 for it?
Right?
Yeah.
It's like
Exactly.
it's either they have no content or it just doesn't work, and it takes for anywhere between 2 to 6 to maybe even sometimes a year before the game is actually updated enough and patched enough to the point where it's runnable and playable. It's
For
Yeah.
sure.
I
crazy.
mean, yeah, back to you, Briggs. I mean, when you talked about No Man's Sky, that's exactly what happened with that. It
Yeah, I was
was
gonna circle back to
not
No Man's Sky.
not complete trash when it first. I mean, okay, yeah, it was pretty close to complete trash, but like now, it's such a beloved game. People love this game,
It
and
has
the
a cult
developers are
following for sure.
yeah, and now even the
Absolutely.
developers are more hyped for it because they saw the uptick in you know downloads and plays and stuff like that. Just because they're like, oh, we actually put out some good stuff. We made it playable. Wow, took us 2 years.
Yeah, and then but then you get the conversation, and we're gonna go off on a tangent here, but that's kind of what we're good at. Is like so yeah, No Man's Sky released in 2015, and it wasn't until like
Jesus.
2019 maybe that it really got those reviews that people were like, you should take a look at this game again.
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah, it took you that long to get the game to where it should have been at release. And I'm not saying that it should have been there in 2015. I'm saying that you shouldn't have released it until 2019. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't even know what No Man's Sky was until probably about 2 3 years ago.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go. I mean,
no clue.
it had a lot of hype in certain circles. My
Hmm.
circle was one of those because I was like really following the game on Kickstarter and all that, and I had pre-ordered it and everything, and I got burned so bad on that I never pre-ordered again
That's something.
until Elden Ring.
That's something funny that you brought up earlier that I wanted to kind of talk about with the with you getting burned with the pre-orders on No Man's Sky. Yeah, dude, I've gotten burned too many different times on pre-ordering, and then that was the thing that I've never really run into very many buggy games. That's something I will say I've been very blessed with. I've run into the problem of getting a game that I'm excited about, following it for maybe a year or two, pre-ordering that thing, and then it has nothing to it.
Right. They don't continue to add. They don't continue
Scarlet
to make it
Nexus was a
playable.
disappointment of a mother.
What was
Dang,
it?
that game. Scarlet Nexus had
Oh,
so
Oh
much
yeah.
hype. I mean, it still I think it still won JRPG of the year or something like that.
hey, tell me
I'd have to
about
look.
Scarlet Nexus because I saw it on Twitter and I saw people were streaming it, but I never actually like took the time to learn what it is.
It's a great game. Like I had a lot of fun with it. The story was beautiful. The characters you have essentially you play as either Yuito or Kasane, a guy or a girl. You can have either play through, and they each have different stories because they each have different perspectives of the same story, right?
Okay.
So it kind of is it's in the future, and they fight these things called others. They're just aliens that basically just hunt for human brains,
Makes
and
sense.
just weird, creepy monsters. Different, all sorts of different shapes, sizes, colors, whatnot, and everything else in between. And they have this organization called the OSF that they're all a part of. It's like a military type of thing, and they just exterminate. They're literally their sole purpose is to try to find a way to fight the others and beat them.
All right, so it's like
But
XCOM meets JRPG kind of.
essentially, yeah, it's super good. It's open world. Well, not fully open world, but it's pretty open world. It's nice. I liked it a lot. The puzzles were great. Some of them were really difficult. I had to YouTube a couple of them, not gonna lie. But yeah, no, it was a great game. It just was over too quickly, which I was really upset about because it had such amazing. And I think it was because you're supposed to play through both sides of the storyline.
Yeah. So let me hit you with this then, Z. How do you feel about a game coming out and it's a great game, it's got great bones, and then later on the devs release a DLC that gives you a little bit more to chew on? Like some more missions.
I mean, I'm all up on that. You
All
can keep
right.
that, by the way. You can keep that. Yeah.
Cuz like
Yes, I'm all for it.
you see a lot about people that they don't want the DLC because it's like, why didn't you just make that part of the original game? I personally agree with Z. I'm like, if you make a great game and the DLC is also great, I will pay for the extra DLC because like the
Yeah,
lifespan of any given game is going to be long enough that, you know, if the devs are continuing to support it, they're going to need some sort of income, you know? That's why like
exactly.
at first I kind of
Exactly.
turned my head whenever, so my wife is like super into Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Animal Crossing released all sorts of free updates and
At
everything.
500 hours.
Oh yeah. They released all kinds of free updates, and I was like, man, this is great. They're keeping up with this game really well. And then after about like a year and a half after release, they released a paid update. And at first I was like, come on, they're all been free so far. Why release a paid one? And I was like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they've been working on this game for over a year. They need some sort of like
Exactly.
monetary.
At some point, you have to realize that you're not you're not just paying, like, you're supporting also that, like, if it's a game that you're interested in, like, say, um one game that I played a lot of that did a really great job of pushing out DLCs, but giving you an option of just enjoying the free one instead of paying for the other one, or the
Mhm.
paying for the paid DLC. It was Dragon Ball Xenoverse
Yeah.
2. Shout out to the homie, by the way. I met him 7 years ago. Still the homie on that game. But I mean, it did a fantastic job. But everybody constantly was like, okay, when's Xenoverse 3 gonna come out? When's Xenoverse 3 gonna come out? That game came out in like 2013, and it's still going. You can only do Dragon Ball so many times before you like they, everybody knows the storyline of Dragon Ball Z. I don't care if
Yeah.
you live under a rock. I know you know the storyline of something about Dragon Ball. And every game always covers the same storyline, but it did a really good job of keeping people interested and keeping people coming back for more because they would release new characters, they would release new moves, a new transformation, new missions, new blah blah, just whatever it was. And everybody was, or different raids, and everybody was always like, yes, 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 gimme, gimme, gimme. I I got all of them, and I have all the paid ones. I don't even care. There's like 13 of them.
Well, there you go. I mean, like we said, the devs, if they're going to continue working on a project, has to be worth it for them, you know?
Well, that's what I liked about the original Dying Light. Came out in 2015, and yet they've still had like the servers have been open. You can still run wild with all your friends. They have holiday events for all the stuff. They've had different weapons, different outfits still posted and still coming out just because they're a community, and that's what they did it for. I saw some of the devs on Twitter that reached out to like some of the top streamers that were playing that game and loved it, just to say, thanks for playing. We're really excited to have you guys on the next one, just because it built that community. And if a game is great enough to do that, people will release whatever the hell they want. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw Knockout
Mm.
season 6, free to
Guys,
play.
if you're watching this and you haven't played Knockout, like
Check out
Knockout is a sleeper of a game. Like not a lot of people are talking about it. The game is fire, and I'm not capping right now. Like
This isn't paid.
no,
not
It's
sponsorship,
not paid,
bro.
not sponsored. They don't know me yet.
Knockout City is beautiful. It's so much fun to play with to hop on and play some dodgeball with the homies, and you don't have to be the last pick.
Right, right. You're
But
not the nerd in the corner that can't throw. Everybody can throw.
when I tell you that Force and I are gonna dominate next season, like I'm not kidding at all. Like we're getting on the map. And Z, you can come with us too. Like if you want to,
You're right on the tailcoats.
let's go.
Be my hard
Teach
carry.
you the ways.
Be my hard carry.
Only if you
Speaking
carry
of
me in
teach me the
Fortnite though.
ways, Speaking of teach me the ways, before with it being tax return season, before I get my tax return and buying Elden Ring, talk to me about the game, my dude. Teach me about this beauty, because I have never touched a Dark Souls game in my life. So,
Okay.
give me a little bit of rundown on the love that we got for
Okay.
Elden Ring.
So Elden Ring, it came out on Friday. If you're watching this, it's been out for a week and 3 days. I don't even it's hard for me to even form a thought about it. I'm deep in the trenches of this game. I think I've got. Let me look on Steam. I'll tell you.
What class you running?
I started the prisoner class and I regretted it.
Yeah, that's actually good to know, because that was the class I was looking at.
So if you want to go, I regretted it because of my personal proclivities in the Dark Souls games. Let me look on, see how many hours I have in Elden Ring so far. 20.1 hours, and it came out on Friday. Today's Monday.
Those are rookie numbers. I remember you posting more up on New World.
Oh yeah, and, well, New World was a little different. I had different
New World
circumstances.
was too grindy. It was too grindy.
Anyways, Elden Ring, easily one of the best games I've ever played. I'm deep in the game right now, and when I finish it, I'll make my decision if I think it's better than Dark Souls. But I think it's on its way to my favorite game ever.
That's awesome.
And if you don't know, like me personally, I'm a Dark Souls guy. Dark Souls is my favorite game. It's my favorite series. But if you haven't played Dark Souls, Elden Ring is an action RPG. So you are you pick a character, you pick the stats and everything,
Love it.
and you go out into the world and you fight monsters. And essentially, the point of the game is to go kill a bunch of demigods and collect their stuff. And there's a lot more to it than that. The game's written by George R.R. Martin, who's the writer of Game of Thrones. So yeah, he did the work on the writing of this game, and you can tell it's really good.
Ooh.
And I mentioned earlier that I'll talk more about the game in a minute, but I mentioned earlier that I hadn't pre-ordered a game except for Elden Ring, and I did pre-order the collector's edition for Elden Ring because I couldn't help myself. And if you're listening to this podcast or watching it on YouTube, then my unboxing video has already released, so I'm safe to share this. But here's a little peek at the collector's edition, what we got.
Wow.
This is a statue of one of the bosses in the game. Look at the detail, man. I don't know how my camera's doing with this, but
That's actually, well, if you stop moving it.
I would say you keep getting so close to poking your eye out. I'm honestly more just afraid.
Worried about you.
Yeah, that came with the collector's edition, along with an art book and like a metal case for the game. It's like
that finally arrived. Speaking
yes,
of pre-orders,
there was a whole deal with that. Like, I'm not gonna say.
If you follow us on Twitter, you know.
I'm not saying Bandai's scam code, but I'm not saying it either. Anyways, the game itself, absolutely incredible. One of the best games, if not the best game I've ever played. And you should definitely pick it up if you at all have any interest in it. I highly recommend it. But I will say, we were talking about the bugs with Cyberpunk earlier on release, and I'm not gonna pretend that Elden Ring is perfect from a performance standpoint, because it's not. There are like some severe frame rate problems on PC,
Hey,
and
they
this
so-
is
Say it so.
yeah, I know it's a issue, and this
Wow.
is coming from people even that have like 3080s, and
Oh
it's
wow, really?
yeah.
Wow.
Really?
So
Damn.
it's not so much like your PC has to be incredible to run it. It's like a optimization problem.
Yeah.
There are ways around it, and I've fixed it for myself. And actually, come to think of it, I'm gonna post a link in the description of this video. If you're having frame rate problems with Elden Ring on your PC, I have a link down below this video that'll help you. It helped me. But I will say you shouldn't have to go looking for stuff like that to make your game run smooth. So
Not at all.
that's my complaint about the game.
The show.
But from the context of like content creation, Elden Ring I think is gonna be it's gonna be something that I keep going back to for sure. I mean, if you've been following me at all and my content, almost all of my stuff has been based on Dark Souls or things along those lines. And Elden Ring is literally big Dark Souls. So there's a
Dark
lot
Souls
for me to
5.
there's a lot for me to dig into here.
Sweet.
And I'm really excited about it. Like I saw a tweet from someone that said they were 80 hours in and they didn't even think they were halfway done,
That
which
makes
is
sense. Wasn't there like 230 hours like expected of the game?
I think so.
That's what I thought it was somewhere around that number, yeah.
230. I like
It's a
it.
lot of hours.
And
That's
then
a lot.
the other thing about the game is like I'm not gonna explain like the mechanics and the combat of it, because if you look into it you'll understand what the game is itself, like the gameplay is like. But the story is built in a way that's really impressive to me. So you go through the game and you encounter NPCs at various points, and you can choose whether or not to interact with them. And if you, let's say you choose to interact with, NPC 1, that's going to close off options for NPC 2, 3, and 4. It's going to open up options with NPCs 4, 5, and 6, whatever else down the line. And if you finish certain quests, it'll close off other quests. If you choose to do a quest, then that's going to close off options. But if you choose to ignore an NPC, it'll open up other options. Like it, and that means that no possible way can you experience everything the game has to offer in one playthrough. Like you're like, if
Good
you
with
want to
that.
see everything, you're going to have to play it multiple times, and I'm definitely on board.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to, like I don't, if I had to guess, I'd probably play it at least 15 times before I die. I mean, I've played Dark Souls like 10 times already. But that's enough of me praising Elden Ring. You should
I
you should
can't
definitely
play
get
it.
it.
I can't play it.
Why not? What's wrong?
I just can't. I don't get it.
You don't get it.
Like, okay, so I get it, right? Like
Mhm.
you're a naked prisoner trying to get some armor and run through, and you fight a big creepy guy with long feet, and then you're just hitting his feet. And then you have a tree that's really shiny. Like it's cool, and okay, I will say it's very pretty. Like it looks great.
Oh yeah.
But I've never been a Dark Souls person. I can't. The most Dark Souls I've ever gone was Devil May Cry.
Oh, so that's not very Dark Souls.
Well,
haven't played that.
I guess in the aspect
me.
of fighting giant things
Yeah.
and only hitting their feet and like that side of it, like the
Mhm.
big creatures and you're a little dude and all that stuff. Um, I don't know. It's never been like that's the game I'm gonna play.
Yeah,
So for me, it's a miss, unfortunately.
that's totally fair. And like if you've been looking at Twitter recently, you might have the impression that like every single person on the planet must play this game just because everyone's raving about it.
Everybody.
And I will say that it's not for everyone. Dark Souls is a very specific kind of game, And Elden Ring definitely fits in that category of like a Dark Souls kind of a game. It is different from Dark Souls in a lot of ways. Open world, you know, um, a few other things that are key differences from Dark Souls. But if you don't like Dark Souls, you're probably not gonna like Elden Ring. And it kills me to say that because I want everyone to try it, but it's just the truth.
And actually, what I'm gonna say pertains to kind of this larger thing that apparently has been a big, not issue, but a hot topic with a lot of either developers and gamers in general is easy mode. You know,
Oh yeah.
the other reason I won't play Dark Souls is I don't want to die 743 times to one boss and never be able to get through just because, you get all the way to the end and he's got a smidge of health left and then he does one big ol' attack and then kaput, you're done. Um,
I
I
thrive on that.
So Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, on the first planet you go to, Bogono, I think it is, you have this giant frog-like creature.
Yes.
And when I played it, actually, if you guys watch the video on my YouTube channel, you'll see I quick cut like 40
Forceful Gaming
different
on
takes,
YouTube.
40 different takes of me trying to defeat this mother, and it didn't happen until the 45th. It took so long, and I was giving up so much hope on life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, everything. And I know that that's going to carry over because I'm a person, for me, I play campaigns, I play stories, and I play games really to enjoy the story, to
Mm-hmm.
dive in and fully immerse myself. And I can't do that if I've died so many times and I'm focused on one individual person just trying to figure out his moves to how to beat him. And yeah, I don't want to say that I play fight bosses and kill them in 3 hits. Like it's okay, I get that part of it, but like there are a lot of game developers that even on easy have made those bosses still tough. You might die 2, 3 times, but that's better than 20. So just I lose interest on that type of thing. So having that easier average mode, normal mode, whatever you want to call it, for me is a big selling
Having a
point,
more
I guess.
story-centered
Hmm.
game difficulty.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
because
we
even with like
can
God of War, it was crazy and it
Mm-hmm.
got difficult as shit, but still, story was spectacular.
and then that's the thing about Dark Souls. If you play through Dark Souls just fighting the bosses and killing the enemies, you will not pick up on the story at all. You have to dig
Oh,
and
sure.
read. You have to read like journals, like items, and all that stuff to find the story. That's and I don't want to say like the well, to me the difficulty is part of the experience because like I said,
100%.
I agree with that though.
I thrive on
On
that
Dark Souls, yes.
I thrive on that part of the game where you get the boss to the very last sliver of HP and then he destroys you. Like that's my content, you know?
Because then you can throw your desk up in the air and you get so pissed. You're like, all right, I'm coming back and you're about to die, you son of a.
Yeah, like
It's
when I was
you feel
playing
that energy.
through Sekiro, I had an actual crisis where I thought I wasn't going to beat the game. I thought I was going to put Sekiro down and not beat it. And I quit. And then later I went back to it and tried again. And it took I made it to a boss in Sekiro that took me 96 attempts. And I have a YouTube video about it on
You
my
do. I was about to bring that up.
yeah, and it kind of explains where I'm getting at here with the difficulty. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying like one side or the other there should be an easy mode or there shouldn't be. Um what I'm saying is I wouldn't use the easy mode if they had it. Like I
Yeah.
want the authentic I want to bang my head against the brick wall for hours. Like and for instance in Elden Ring right now I'm stuck on a boss and I don't know how many times I've tried to beat him, but
36.
it's probably in the 30s I would say. So,
I
yeah, and
watch
I
you.
and I haven't beat him yet. Uh, but I'm like, I'm on my edge waiting for that payoff of when I finally do, you know? And like, I know it's
It's
going
a
to be
huge
great.
satisfaction. Yeah, it's a
Oh, yeah.
huge satisfaction.
Like,
You can jump through floor.
how'd you feel when you finally beat that frog?
I think you could see my facial reaction, but like I just stopped for like 10 minutes and was like, it's done. I am
Right?
complete.
Did you
know, like
feel like your body had a sensation of like an out of body experience? Like,
And
I
then he
peed a little
caught his
bit.
first lightsaber.
yeah.
But also I was so pissed the entire time. I'm like, I'm literally doing everything that I need to do. Why aren't you dying?
Yeah,
And that's how,
I do get it. But what I'm getting at is like chasing after that feeling
Oh yeah.
of
Mhm.
And it's a niche, some
for sure.
people love that shit. Kill me a billion times. Yeah, give me that. Oh, kill me again. Oh yeah, I'm gonna beat you eventually and it's gonna be great.
Mm-hmm.
Not my cup of tea. I will
that's
sip
how I
on
am.
easy tea and just enjoy it.
That's how I
What
am with my like shooters, but campaigns like story mode games, I'm really really about that story for sure. But the shooters, bro, I'll die over and over again. But then, that one time I get you. I see that Royale. I'm like, uh
I've never had that feeling.
I mean, that's how I feel with Warzone. Like I'm fine at it. I'm no like uh what Joe Woe or whatever the hell those cracked out
Are we
mothers
wine
actually.
tasting out here? Okay, hold up. Never mind.
Kirkland. Sorry. But like for that, like I will die before the first circle even gets a chance to drop, and that's 2 minutes in, and I'm pissed, but I'll still hop right back into the game and
Mhm.
give it another go. So I think, I think same what Z was saying. It whatever it's story campaigns or campaigns. I'm here for the story. Multiplayer stuff, kill
Exactly.
me a bunch. I want to learn, I want to adapt, and I want to be eventually better because
It's
I also know I'm playing against other people too. So that kind of
exactly.
helps push me a little bit.
It's that expectation of what you're going in there for. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah, it's so interesting to hear you guys say that because I'm the exact opposite. Because if I'm in, like, let's say a BR and I spend like 25 minutes getting like as far as I can, maybe I've killed a couple of people or whatever, and then I die getting like sniped, like BS from a mile away, I am like, I don't enjoy that. It turns me off. I don't want to get into the next game. Like, and then the idea was what you were saying of like playing against other people and learning and getting better. I hate the idea that there will always be someone better than me. It's just how it is. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not sweaty enough to ever be like the very best, like no one ever was.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that I can be good enough to beat every single boss in Dark Souls or Elden Ring. So that's like
Did you just throw a song on us just then?
it was the
Did you just drop Pokemon on us?
it was the Pokemon.
Yeah, you
Gotta
did. I
catch
heard
'em
it.
all.
I about messed myself just then. That was great.
But that's what I'm saying though. Is like I know I'm never gonna be the best Warzone player or Fortnite player, but I do know that I can be good enough to beat every single enemy in Dark Souls, and like that's
Yeah,
good enough for me.
I will
sure.
say there's a completely different aspect to playing a BR or just any shooter by yourself than with a buddy or a group.
Oh, I do.
Totally
I
different.
Yeah.
totally buy that. I totally buy that. I
Totally
mean,
different
playing
environment.
I mean,
playing
knockout.
knockout with Force, yeah,
You know,
that's
Yeah, exactly. It's different
it's
solo queuing than it is when you're hopping in with with your homies, but it's that same feeling that you get of like the dying over and over again, like you were talking about, uh where you and Force are saying like I want to get better. Okay, like I died. Okay, now why did I die? Is it to some bullshit that shouldn't have happened? Or is it because this guy outplayed me?
mm-hmm.
right.
That whole idea of there's always going to be somebody better than me. I hate that. And
Mm-hmm.
do you know why I go into a game? To make sure that I'm the better one,
Exactly.
but then I'm not.
And then you're not, and then you're really let down. But you take that and you go, well,
And
shit. Instead of running this way, I knew I should have gone and done this, and I should have done this instead. So you can really critique yourself because of how you got played, and then you
totally.
could be like, oh shit, I was in this room. The guy came through this door. I had the opportunity to do this or do this, but I didn't do it. And so like it's constantly checking yourself on how to be that better person. Same way you do with Bloodborne or Elden Ring or whatever it is, because you got killed because of a specific move that the guy did and you didn't see it. So you learned and now you're going to remember for next time. That's how I ended up beating that damn frog in Star Wars because I figured out I literally like through the 46 different plays was me trying to master exactly how each of his four attacks were so that I can counter them
Yep.
and get past it. And so it comes into play in really all aspects of gaming, which is super cool. And I think that's the whole point is, A, better yourself. You don't just be some scrub that dies every chance that you get. You learn and become better with the game, no matter if it is campaign or multiplayer or whatever it is.
Yeah, for sure. So Z, I want to talk to you about the content behind jumping into a game with the intent of like getting better at it and climbing and stuff.
Dude, yeah, absolutely.
So where's your mindset at with like content of that? Because I know there's a huge market for content in BRs in particular.
For sure.
And I think you're probably the
100%.
best one to talk about that here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I would honestly like with Fortnite in general, there's coming from a content perspective. I mean, if you're sitting there just playing the game on, casually on the couch, playing some random pub game, you're not worried about content, you're not worried about what you're doing with it. You're just playing the game to play. But in a content sense, there's so much you can do with like even just a game like Fortnite. Like right now, some things that are popular with Fortnite are Cypher PKs doing and Courage are doing a lot of this what's called Clash mode. What they'll do, and there was Fortnite fashion shows back like just a year ago, 2 years ago. Yeah, and it was one of the craziest things. Fortnite fashion shows were just literally showing off that people's skins and locker collections. But it was like one of the biggest things on Fortnite at the time during YouTube because there was such a lull in other things that content that Fortnite was doing. But what they're doing great this time is they're just constantly giving us new stuff, updating almost every week. So coming into it from a content perspective is like, okay, I'm dropping in. What can I do? Can I do all machine pistol challenge? If you guys want to check out my blue item only challenge video on my channel, it is there as well. Also featuring another global alteration member, Fuzzy Peaches as well. So obviously, definitely want to check that out. But
Check out Z's
there's
channel.
all sorts of different challenges, and there's different like you can make your own game modes. You can even do creative tutorials, right, on for people like how me and Force were talking about how we want to analyze and get better. It's like they'll go into, okay, so you watch like a guy on creative, and he's teaching you edits. He's teaching with Fortnite. It's such a huge being such a huge
How
game.
to crank 90s.
Exactly, the 90s, bro, and how to crank 90s better than anybody. Because I mean, the funniest thing is building changes so often in that game because somebody's always trying to find a way to get through something, right? There's different educational things you can talk about, like um, if your fire rate is higher than 7, you can bleed through a wall, right? If your fire rate's as high as 14, you can bleed through a wall twice and guaranteed. So if they're wall spamming, you can hit them 2 different times, maybe even once, doesn't matter. But if you're paying attention to those things and you watch you're making that content, you're able to learn how to, I guess, really just in a sense get better because once you know those things, you know different play styles that you like. Oh, I don't want to run this machine pistol. I want to run this SMG because it doesn't machine pistol doesn't do well at range, but SMG does. That
Okay.
type of stuff.
So that's super interesting because for me, coming from outside of the shooter world, is like looking at playing shooters on my channel. It's like the content comes from the dub, and
Yeah, and
I've done shooters on my channel, and I've played Warzone, and I played Fortnite with Irrelevant once. It was
mhm,
actually a lot of fun. But
yeah,
for me, it's like, where is the content? Like, and
for sure.
I guess it. I mean, it makes a lot of sense that it's not all the dub. There's a lot to it. Like how.
That's a really common misconception that it's about the dub too. I mean, my content for so long was lacking so much because I was so focused on getting that dub and only posting stuff or
Yeah.
only streaming for so long if I was getting dubs, and if I wasn't getting dubs I'd get mad and I'd turn off the whole stream. It's not, it's you can I think that the fun about being a content creator is finding different ways to make content that somebody else hasn't thought of yet, or to put a spin on something that is supposed to be a certain way, but you can create something completely different out of it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's like people do no armor runs in Dark Souls or whatever.
Mm-hmm. A really popular one right now is the Clash mode. The Clash mode that Cypher started. I don't know if Cypher started it, but he's been doing it a lot, and I actually think he did start it with Courage. They jump into a game and they pickaxe each other. They're fighting each other, and whoever wins gets first pick, right? So they each have to pick one person by final 10, and whoever's pick wins that game. Like, say, oh, Briggs, you'd have to shout me out in a tweet or whatever, or you would have to shout me out in some video, or promote this video of mine, or whatever the case may be. But it's just the content is never ending. It's so interesting to watch. It's so crazy to think that me watching somebody else spectate a whole game and just add commentary to it
Yeah.
is almost more enjoyable than watching them play a game and then get the dub, because
Yeah.
they're able to focus more on it and on the content side of it, rather than, okay, let's try to get this dub, but we also got to make the content out of it.
And I've seen that even with Warzone too. I back when I was streaming a lot, that's outside of my campaign games I would just play, Warzone with a bunch of buddies and stuff. And I used to hate it too. If I didn't get the win, I was like, well, no one's watching because I'm not winning, like
Mm.
it gets you down a little bit. But then you see all these people on YouTube and it's like I follow this guy Expel. Most of his not I won't say most, I don't want to say that because he is very good, but like there's a lot of his videos where he dies and he's like 10th, and then that's it. And then he just ends the video and that's it. And it's like, well, sure, that sucked, but everything up till that point provided a lot of knowledge, how to map rotate, how to, you watch them, how they engage in fights, and you can take that for yourself and be like, okay, cool, I saw him doing this during this fight or engagement, and now I can try to put that into my whole thing as well. And then even like Iceman Isaacs, and J God and Savage and all those guys, they've done spectating videos too, where they drop
Yeah.
in and the first thing they do is die, so that they go to the gulag, they kill themselves so they don't get the chance to be seen by the guy that killed them in the gulag. So they get a completely random person, no affiliate
Spectating
whatsoever
Warzone
to them,
solos. Love it.
and they just watch them and what from start to finish, and they call them out on the dumb shit they're doing, but then also on the really good stuff that they're doing too, and provide that breakdown that you should be doing for yourself all the time, but now you're doing it vocally for somebody else, to show how they could have improved this, or and other
Absolutely.
people can always apply that to themselves too. So it's
With
weird.
with
And there's
Warzone too, it's really funny.
oh yeah, it's terrible, but it's great all at the same time.
Because
Uh,
you get the big hackers too. So when you get the spectators and they're spectating a hacker. Oh, give me a
Yep,
show.
and you got, "Oh, 50 kills, oh, no big deal," that makes sense. And then they're just doing it for fun, where they're, like, spray painting a heart on the ground, and they turn around and no scope a guy from across the map, and it's like, that that's not what the game's about, like, we're not watching you because it's good, we're watching you because 'cause you're a ass,
Yeah, because
like, this
we're all
sucks.
laughing at you being an ass.
Right, like, it takes no skill to be a hacker, and so we're just here to say, "Hey, we're all reporting you, all 40 people that are watching you, we're all reporting you, so you're not gonna have this account long." And it's fun to create that content too, because it's another avenue for these
Mhm.
companies to say, "Oh, well, he's hacking, let's find his gamer tag and let's boot him out, call it a day." And I've actually seen things because of that, because of stuff that Isaacs have posted or Expel have posted, because they've spectated a hacker, posted it, tweeted it, and say, "Hey, Raven Software, what are you doing about this?" And then
Right?
guy's gone.
Dude, Tim the Tap Man, he's got a fucking button. He legit just he sees a hacker and he can literally just watch them get booted from the game.
Yeah.
in his game
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It-
because he just sends a text and like, yo, this guy right here.
Yep.
He's with them.
It happened because of that spectating Warzone solos thing that he was doing, and it became such a huge niche on his channel. And
Yeah.
it's so funny how different things that when you take a game and give it a different spin than what it was supposed to be and what other people perceive it as, and you give it that different spin, it's so crazy how it opens up different possibilities for the game. I mean, Warzone now has a full-on anti-cheat that's not,
Finally.
that's not self-review.
Right.
The
Exactly.
manual review, I mean.
Honor system.
Yeah.
Please
Well, and
don't
then
cheat, guys.
And then even just creating that new stuff, like what you said, blue weapons only and all that stuff. Like I did it where I would do random challenges of dual snipers or
Mm-hmm.
shields and sticks or like just random stuff that changes the pace, changes the vibe.
Totally.
And yeah, it's just for you, but it gives other people ideas to be like, oh, this could be fun. And then because honestly, that would be awesome if the game in general just had different modes. I mean, you remember Halo,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they had all of that already set up in the game. It was a part of their multiplayer.
I think another thing that made Fortnite more enjoyable was doing those challenges,
Yeah.
because I wasn't so focused on I would love to get the dub for for this video because it's super cool. Like, okay, yeah, I have 4 machine pistols. Let's do it. Let's try to get a dub. But but the fun is making the content and trying and I mean typically I tend to not really do challenge videos solo, so I'm always with a buddy, and so it's really interesting to have that person to bounce that banter off of too.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And I think everything we're talking about here with like creating content out of a game that's been played for millions of hours is
Mhm.
it all comes back to the community surrounding the game and like what ideas and what wacky stuff like comes out of the community. Because if you see someone doing something stupid, you're more likely to also try something stupid, just for fun, right?
Yeah. I mean,
And
there's
I
even a website that you can random generate all your attachments on your gun. Like that's a website now.
that's
Just
hilarious.
because of the content that's been made within Call of Duty and Warzone and stuff like that. Like it's just ridiculous the extra stuff
That's
that's happened.
that's what I'm saying is like the community. That's the reason that website exists, you know.
Mhm.
And I guarantee you, like the Souls community is what it is right now, and it's probably one of the like nuttiest communities out there as far as gaming goes. I guarantee you there will be like no hit runs of Elden Ring within a month
I
or
was gonna say
less.
about a month. Yeah, it would because people are cracked.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
I'm not one of those people. Don't if you want no hit, don't subscribe to my channel. I'm not out here doing no hit, but I will do challenge runs on Elden Ring. I've done challenge runs on Dark Souls. I did a no armor run, and that was a lot of fun. Um, but yeah,
Was it
that's
actually a lot of fun?
oh yeah, it was.
Wait, I
It was
forget who I'm talking
it
to.
was yeah, it was very painful. A lot of fun. I enjoyed it. 10 out of 10 would die 1,000 times again.
Oh, you're reminding me of that Rick and Morty episode where where Rick and Jerry are entertaining the demons from hell in the new season.
yeah.
Oh, it brings me pain, which makes me happy, gives me more pain, but it also feels good.
Hey, that's how it is, man.
It's exactly how it is.
I'm not pretending over here. Like it's it's Dark Souls is Dark Souls.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
It's Dark
I think that's why
Souls.
I honestly have never really given it much of a shot is because I've always heard how difficult it was. And
Yeah.
a game like that, especially games with swords and shields and magic and all that, I usually am more focused on stories, like just that I don't think I've ever played a game that wasn't on easy mode.
Mm.
I don't think I have, and I'll scream it from the rooftops.
Listen, that's okay. But
I'm about the same.
you might be in for a little shock when Elden Ring hits your Steam library. But I will say
I'm excited for it.
the
bro.
full
I'm so
game
stoked.
the full game is co-op enabled, so I will be there for you.
Get those reses off, everything that is needed.
When Z gets
So
Elden
is it-
Ring, I can almost guarantee that me and Z are gonna make some Elden Ring based content.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that. Is it multiplayer, like MMO, or is it just co-op?
It's just co-op. Like you can have
Oh.
you could summon up to 2 people into your world, and then you can also be invaded, and people will like try to kill you, multiplayer
That's
style.
pretty dope, bro. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's actually, and talking about community, there's a lot of cool stuff that has come up around invasions. People will do like invasions are supposed to be dirty, and like you do whatever you got to kill the person and all that. But there's been this like fight club type culture that's come up around the invasions, where people will do like an honor system and just 1v1 straight up, no heals, and may the best man win. And I think that's kind of cool.
I like that. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Interesting how that's already coming about, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was a thing in Dark Souls 3, which is why I think
Okay.
it came back.
Hmm.
But we've been going for about an hour now.
I like it.
The longest Crossing the Streams episode to date, but we had a lot to talk about, and I think it was good stuff.
Very good.
So,
Absolutely.
with that being said, thank you everyone so much for watching. Thank you to my beautiful, gorgeous co-hosts, Force and Z. Make sure you subscribe to all of our channels, and make sure you follow us on Twitter. I got all of our Twitter handles down at the bottom of the screen here. Super easy to find us on Twitter, and don't forget to follow Altered Globe on Twitter. That's our organization that we're a part of. We're very proud of the goings on over there. And if you're seeing this video right now, you're on our YouTube channel. You're on the organization YouTube channel. So subscribe.
Hit that sub. Maybe hit a bell. Be
And
dope.
and we'll see you guys next week on Crossing the Streams, and peace out.
Yeah.